Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a husband and wife who longed for a child. Their home was next to a beautiful garden that belonged to a powerful and wicked witch named Mother Gothel. The garden was filled with rare and magical plants, and the couple often admired it from their window. One day, the wife saw a plant called Rapunzel growing in the garden and craved it desperately. She begged her husband to fetch her some, for she believed she could not live without it. Reluctantly, the husband climbed over the wall of the witch's garden and stole some Rapunzel for his wife. The wife made a salad from the Rapunzel and found it so delicious that she wanted more. Her husband, fearing for her health, sneaked into the garden again. But this time he was caught by Mother Gothel. "How dare you steal from my garden?" she hissed. Terrified, the man begged for mercy and explained that he had done it to please his wife, who was expecting a child. Mother Gothel considered this for a moment, and then offered him a deal. "You may take as much Rapunzel as you need, but in return, you must give me your child when it is born." The man, filled with fear, agreed to her terms. When the baby was born, a beautiful girl, Mother Gothel, appeared, took the child away, and named her Rapunzel, after the plant that had led to her birth. Mother Gothel raised Rapunzel in isolation, hiding her away in a tall tower deep in the forest. The tower had no stairs or doors, only a single window high above the ground. Rapunzel grew into a beautiful young woman with long golden hair that shimmered like sunlight. Her hair grew so long that it could reach the ground from the top of the tower. Mother Gothel was the only one allowed to visit Rapunzel, and she would call up to her, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel would drop her golden locks out of the window, and Mother Gothel would climb up the tower, using her hair as a rope. Though Rapunzel had never left the tower, she longed to see the world beyond her window. She spent her days singing sweetly, and her voice echoed through the forest, enchanting all who heard it. One day, a prince who was passing through the forest heard Rapunzel singing. Entranced by her voice, he followed the sound until he came upon the tower. He watched from the shadows as Mother Gothel called up to Rapunzel and climbed her hair. After Mother Gothel left, the prince waited until nightfall and then called out, imitating the witch's voice, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." To his delight, Rapunzel lowered her long golden hair, and the prince climbed up into the tower. When Rapunzel saw him, she was startled at first, for she had never seen a man before. But the prince spoke kindly to her, explaining how he had been drawn by her beautiful singing. Over time, they fell in love, and the prince visited her every night, climbing her hair to reach her. One day, Rapunzel innocently mentioned to Mother Gothel, "My prince climbs up so much faster than you." Furious, Mother Gothel realized what had been happening. In her rage, she cut off Rapunzel's hair and banished her to a remote desert far from the kingdom. That evening, when the prince came to visit, Mother Gothel lowered the cut hair to trick him. As the prince climbed up, he was horrified to see the wicked witch instead of Rapunzel. In her fury, Mother Gothel cursed the prince and pushed him from the tower. He fell into a bed of thorns, which blinded him. Heartbroken and blinded, the prince wandered the forest, searching for Rapunzel, calling her name in despair. Meanwhile, Rapunzel lived alone in the desert, mourning the loss of her prince and her freedom. Many months passed, and one day, as the prince wandered through the desert, he heard a familiar voice. It was Rapunzel, singing the same sweet song that had once enchanted him. Guided by her voice, the prince found Rapunzel at last. Overcome with joy, Rapunzel embraced him, and as she wept, her tears fell onto his eyes. Miraculously, her tears healed his blindness, and he could see again. The prince and Rapunzel returned to his kingdom, where they were married in a grand celebration. They lived happily ever after, free from the wicked witch's grasp.